What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about handling prospect objections, okay? But before we dive in, I would really appreciate it if you can like, subscribe, share this video, and make sure that you show love all the time, because the more love you show me, the more love it can show back and pour more impact. All right, so handling prospect objections, the big three. All right, these are the big three objections that most of us are having to deal with on a consistent basis if you're doing an amazing job in the report building. So you have to do an amazing job in the report building and in the call process to be able to avoid these as best as possible, or at least limit them to a point where you can actually work through them in a much easier fashion. But if you do get stuck in this point, what can you do? How can you counteract this? How can you get over this and handle those objections so then you can serve your customer or your client, your future client? So number one, money objection, all right? Number two, time objection. Number three, relationship objection. We're gonna start with money objection first. All right, so let's give you an example. There's many different ways you can handle this, but here's one great way that you can do this. So if somebody gives you the money objection, like, hey, look, I can't afford this right now. I don't have the money right now. You can simply tell them, hey, no worries, I completely understand. But let's pretend that you did have the money. So let's say the amount was $5,000. Let's say you did have $5,000 right now in your bank account to invest in this today. Would you go all in? So now you're challenging them to see if the money is really the main driver of why they're not joining, okay? You wanna figure that out. That question allows you to figure out if the money is the true issue, because maybe there's something else. Maybe they might tell you, well, there's also the fact that, now they're telling you, maybe it's because they had a bad experience, or maybe it's because they still have another question. So the money is not the problem anymore. So now if they tell you, hey, yeah, there's something else too, like I just had another question, right? Like, I'm just a little confused, like or I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be able to like fit this into my schedule because I'm scared of the time, right? So maybe she used the money, or he used the money objection to get out of this, because really what the objection is, it's the time. That's the problem. So now you can push the money objection off the side and work on the real problem, which is the time that's scaring them, right? And then you as a coach, you coach them through them, tell them, take out your calendar. We're gonna work through your calendar, figure out how to be able to build your recurring schedule, and then how to fill in those white gaps to be a productive individual, and then find that time to be able to plug into one of those white gaps, your coaching services. So you see, there's always a way around it. But let's say that's not the case, and they just tell you, hey, yeah, if I did have the money, I would go all in with you. Okay, awesome. That means that they're willing to go all in with you, but maybe they just need to work on figure out their finances and see how we can best serve them. So it's your job now to be like, hey, great, awesome. So if I can help you come up with a financial game plan to get you started today, would you be open to that? Now you're creating an opportunity for them to still work with you, all right? And allowing you to coach them through their finances. And when they say yes, you're gonna tell them these three things, all right? All I need from you is your checking, your savings, and your credit line. I know a lot of you will have a hard time doing that, but you cannot be scared to ask that. They just gave you permission. You asked for permission. I didn't force it, I asked for permission. Now that you have permission's granted, you need to ask them those three things. Why? Because you need to help them, coach them through their finances. Now, some people don't even know what they have, right? Some people don't even know what they have in their accounts. So figure it out. All right, now you can coach them through them and be like, okay, so how much do you have in your checking? Okay, great. You have $1,000 in your checking. Okay, awesome. You have $500 in your savings. Oh, your credit line is another $1,000. Okay, so you have $2,500. Okay, so this is not bad. Okay, now you can ask them, from those $2,500, how much do you need? How much do you need in expenses at the end of this month? Whatever number they gave you, let's give you an example. Let's say, okay, we're gonna, for this month, since the month is almost over, I only need to spend $500 from those $2,500. Okay, so we have $2,000 in here that we can work with. So where else do you feel that we can come up with those $3,000? And let's see if they be creative, right? You're still giving them a little bit of control. And then if they say, no, honestly, I don't know. And you can ask them, hey, would you be open to open up a credit line, another credit card, right? Or you can even ask them, hey, let me ask you, have you gotten a credit line extension on your current credit card? No, I've never have. Okay, awesome. So this is a great opportunity to see if maybe we can call your bank right now and see if they can give you a bigger credit line. You're due for a credit line. Man, it's been a few years. Boom, right there. They call the bank. Bank tells them, hey, here's an extra $1,000 on your credit line. Here's an extra $500. Here's an extra $2,000. Now there's more money to play with. So now those $2,000 turned into $3,000. Or $2,500 or $4,000, whatever they give in that amount, which you coach them through. okay? So let's say they got a credit line push of an extra $1,000, now it's $3,000. Now they're $2,000 away, shy of joining in your program for $5,000, right? Now you have the other options. Hey, have you ever heard of PayPal credit, right? Or the credit card option of applying for a credit card, they might be open to that. You gotta ask those questions. And if they say no, you can always settle down for, hey, would you be open to opening up a small loan? You'd be surprised people will do it, especially if they believe in you. And that's where you can test somebody's seriousness. Because if they believe in you, they'll figure it out. When somebody believes in and wants something so bad, think about it. When you wanted to buy that one gift that you've wanted your whole life, whether it's a playing console, a car, whatever it is, a trip, you know you figure it out. Don't lie to me. I know you figure it out. It's the same with here. If you want to be able to lose that weight or change your mindset or change your lifestyle, and that's the coach you're going to work with to help you do that, you'll figure it out. So now by doing that, you can also position them to see what their seriousness level is at. And let's say for some reason they say it's not okay, but now you know you have $3,000 right there that they have available. Now you could tell them, hey, no worries. I'm gonna do this for you, but I don't usually do this for everybody, right? So if you start today, I'd be more than happy to split that payment up into 2 for you, right? Or I'm willing to be able to split up that payment and take $3,000 now, start you off with that, and now you can pay the next $2,000 in the following month, which will be the total $5,000. And right there, you can get them into the program. But I coached them through the finances. I broke it step by step. I didn't give in, and I didn't let them give in on themselves, right? If they want this and they allow me to help them, they want this, they're gonna allow me to help them get them to this. And there's a solution. That's a solution on how to handle that money objection. That's one way of doing it, okay? So don't be scared to ask these questions, guys. Now you have a new client along your way. They're getting results, they're happy, they're excited, and they're gonna continue work with you. Time objection, one of my favorite ones. Why? Because time, get that shit out of here. All right, somebody tells you this, it's clearly has nothing to do with that. Something else. All right, you get that time one, it's usually something else, guys. And I'll tell people straight up, if they tell me, hey, look, Anthony, honestly, I just don't have the time. And I'd be like, hey, look, I completely understand. But out of my experience working with many of my coaches and prospects, when they tell me that they don't have the time, it's usually 2 things. It's either A, they don't trust in themselves, or B, they don't trust in me in the system. So if you have any unanswered questions I haven't answered for you, I would love to answer them for you right now. Which one is it? Boom. Now they have to choose, right? So now you take that whole time invented thing out of the equation, because everybody has time, guys. You make the time. When something's important, you make the time. So now they have to pick and choose. Well, maybe they don't trust themselves that much. You got to coach them through that. Or maybe they don't trust you in the system that much, right? So let's say it's the fact that they don't trust you in your coaching program and you yourself. Maybe from there, you can tell them, hey, so let me ask you, what is it going to take for you to have more trust in me? Well, I haven't seen results from other people, right? So now they're telling you what the real issues are. It's not the time. They haven't seen results from other people. They're just trying to use time to get out of this situation, right? When people are put in an uncomfortable spot, their brain starts trying to invent things to get them out of it. But it's your job to show them that they need this, and this is why you're working with them. So all you could tell them, hey, look, let me show you a few testimonials. Would that help? Yes, take them out. Here you go. Oh, wow, your clients did, oh, wow, oh, shoot. Now they're starting to trust you. And you'd be like, hey, so what do you think? Man, no, this is great. This is, your clients are getting some great results. Man, I wish I saw this earlier, right? So that right there could change the whole name of the game for you, and you can get them signed up, or maybe they might tell you something else, right? Maybe they need a little bit more trust, right? Maybe they need to see something else you were affiliated with, right? So if you're affiliated with a big feature or a big brand, or maybe you're in a podcast, or show them those things. Builds credibility, builds trust, right? Maybe they want to see some history, right? Like, hey, how long have you been doing this for? Maybe you never mentioned that, right? What companies have you worked for? Or, they might ask you certain things of credibility, and you give it to them. That builds trust, right? Now on the opposite end, if it's them not trusting themselves, I'll ask them, hey, so why do you feel you don't trust yourself? Well, it's just, one time I was in a program and, I half-assed it and I wasn't happy. I just didn't do it. Didn't do it to 100%. And I'll ask them, well, why do you think that is? See, I'm asking questions. It's all about asking questions. Well, why do you think that is? well, you know, it's during that time, you know, I was going through a breakup and I was doing this and, you know, school was in the way, and I'll be like, oh, okay. So can we agree that you're in a much better time in your life right now than before? Yeah, 100%. So why are you gonna allow yourself to hold yourself back during a time that wasn't that great for you, and hold yourself back from achieving a goal that you want to achieve so much, especially during a time that you feel so good about yourself? Your work is good, your relationship is good. This is the best time to do it. Man, you're right. Right? Sometimes people just need to realize by you asking the right questions and making them realize that, hey, this is just an obstacle you just gotta get over, right? So just asking the right questions and diving deep and talking, having conversation can change the no for you, to save an entire deal for you, right? So I love the time one because time one is such an easy one to maneuver, right? Relationship is another good one. Relationship one usually has to do with the fact that you didn't figure out who the buyer was or who the decision maker was at or beginning or towards the middle of the call, and that's your job during the call, right? So through the process of the call, you need to figure out who the decision maker is, right? So by figuring out who the decision maker is, by simply when you're going through that call, right, and that person's excited, and they want, maybe they're already inclining to like, man, I can see myself doing this, and you simply ask them, hey, look, this is a huge step. This is a huge step towards whether it's losing your weight, your mindset, making more money, whatever it is that your offer is, right? So if I'm speaking to health and fitness coaches, it's also gonna have to do with your health. So this is a big step to improving your health. Let me ask you something. You know, when it comes to your support system back home, you know, I know you mentioned that you have your kids and your husband. Are they very supportive on you when it comes to doing these kind of things? Oh yes, 100%. That's awesome. So when it comes to making a decision to changing your life today, is your husband part of that decision-making process? Now they might say yes, and they might say no. If they say no, then you continue the call, just like you would any other call. But if they say yes, then you know that they're not the decision maker with the money. The husband is. So you have to get that husband on the call. So simple. This is how you can approach it. Be like, awesome. That's great too. I love when couples make decisions together and when they work as a team and support each other. I think it's very important. And due to the fact that I think it's very important, I think it's also very important that your husband should be on this call, because if he is a decision maker, he should be on here to be able to make this decision with you today. Is he available right now? They might say yes, they might say no. If they say no, you tell them, no problem. When are they available again later today? Oh, at this time. Awesome. Let's book that in for later tonight. I'll call you. We'll get you and your husband on the call, and I'm excited to serve you. Boom. So now you never mention pricing. You never mention pricing, meaning you're leaving them with curiosity. So they're never gonna run to their husband and be like, oh, this is how much it costs, because he's gonna tell them no, don't do it. Why? Because he doesn't believe in your goal as much as you believe it in yourself. But if you get them on the call with you, they might think differently, because you're the one in control. They're seeing how you are, how you're gonna serve their wife, help their wife, and they'll be like, you know what, honey, you should do this. Right? So I went a little bit off when I was saying we're just gonna handle objections. I kind of coached through a little bit there on the relationship, how you can do that during the call report building, but that's how you wanna handle building rapport on a call, is you wanna figure out who the decision maker is early on, so that way you can avoid this. But once you are here, so let's say that's how you can avoid this objection. But if, let's say, somehow you forget to mention that in the report building, or there's been times where they tell you, hey, no, my husband isn't, or my wife isn't part of the decision-making process. And at the end of the call, they do tell you, oh, I gotta speak to my wife. Now you can handle that. So, and I will tell you right now that one of the best ways to handle it, if somebody who I told and build rapport with, that I figured out who the decision maker was, and they said, no, the decision maker's me. I don't need my husband or wife to be able to make a decision today. But at the end of the call, you hit them with a price, and now they're like, well, let me speak to my wife about it, or let me speak to my husband about it. The first thing I'm gonna tell them, hey, look, I know you wanna speak to your significant other about it, but let me ask you, didn't you tell me that when it comes to making big decisions like this, you're somebody who can make these kind of decisions on your own? You said that, independently, that's how you run things. Challenge them, bring that up. That's what they said. Now you're gonna hear the truth. Well, yeah, no, I know, it's just, when it comes to a significant amount, oh, so that changed the note now, right? So when it comes to, I have to run certain things through my husband or through my wife, and I'll stop and be like, hey, let me ask you something. If your husband or your wife was here right now with us, right now, and you're telling me that they're as supportive as they are, if they were here in front of us right now, and they're that supportive, what would your husband or wife tell you to do right now? Would they tell you, yes, do it, or no? And pause. And now they're let it sink into their head. They'll be like, no, my husband will tell me to do it. Okay, so let's do it. Because if they don't do it, now you know it has nothing to do with the relationship. Now you know it has to do with something else. Because they're saying, no, my husband would tell me to do it. But let me go. If you're telling me your husband would say, yes, let's do it, and you're telling me, but wait, what's really going on? Talk to me. What's really going on? Be honest with me. Oh, you know, Anthony, it's this and this and that. Oh, okay. So now maybe they just need more questions answered. Guys, this is all coaching, right? Don't get frustrated, right? We need to figure out what the real issue is, right? But that's how you can handle the relationship call. The relationship objection, right? You can also handle it by if they're the decision maker, they say, yeah, my husband needs to get on the call, or my wife needs to get on the call. My husband or wife, I need to speak to them. I'll get back to you. You usually tell them, hey, no worries. Is your husband or wife available right now to speak with? And they say no. Then you do the same thing. You schedule it for the next day or the same day, preferably the same day. And you tell them, hey, no problem. Let's schedule it for later today at 6 p.m. Great. But before we schedule that in, can I coach you through something real quick? Yeah, 100%. Can I kind of give you some advice on how to be able to approach your husband or wife like that? Yeah, of course. Remember, this is because you didn't figure this out at the beginning of the call. So I'm teaching you now when you get to that objection. Okay, awesome. So when you approach your husband or your wife, I would tell them this. I'll tell them, hey, look, honey, I spoke to this coach today. Remember I told you that I had my goals that I want to achieve. I really loved everything they're about. I really want to do this. I'm just letting you know that I'm going to do this, but I just wanted to tell you out of courtesy. So I would love for you to jump on a call with me later tonight so you can meet the coach that I'm going to work with. You see the difference? Now you're telling your husband, you're going to still do it, but you're just giving them the courtesy, or your wife, you're giving them the courtesy of knowing that you're going to do it, and this is what you want to do, and you want to introduce them your new coach. If you go to about that angle, guys, you don't understand the way you frame things and say things and the tonality of it changes the playing field. But if you come to your husband or wife, hey, honey, you know, I got on a call, and if you tell your client to approach it like that, I got on a call, and I really want to do this coaching program. It's this much money. They want to talk to us later. Your husband and wife is gonna be like, no, I'm not paying that. No, forget about it. But if you come firmly and confidently, they're gonna see that oh man, they really want to do this. Let me get on that call. So the way that you teach your client to also the prospect to also deliver it to their spouse makes a huge difference, right? Makes a huge difference. And another thing too is you can collect the down payment. You can also collect the down payment, right? So that way you secure yourself. So let's say that person who's gonna go and speak to their spouse is really serious. I'll be like, hey, look, since I know you really want to do this, and I know that we said we're gonna get your husband or your wife on this call later today. I want to make sure that I can hold your spot. My spots are filling up quickly, so I want to make sure I can hold your spot. And since I know you really want to do this, I'm willing to hold this spot for you. And the way I usually hold spots is I just take a small deposit of $200-$300, whatever it is that you guys decide to pick your price. I take a small deposit of $200 to hold this slot for you. So that way when your husband comes on the call and you guys decide to do this, all you have to do is pay the remainder of the rest today. And if worse comes to worse, we just shoot your money back. Right? So now that tests their level of seriousness. Now you can go back to them and be like, if they tell you no, I don't want to do that, something else is wrong there. Because if I really want to do something and I want to hold my spot, I'll pay $200 if I know I'm going to get my money back. So now you can either challenge that now and use that as a challenging question, right? And if they do give you $200, then you know they're serious. You know that they really want to do this, and now it's just the fact that we got to bring the decision maker in. So guys, if you learned from this video, if you got any value out of this, I would appreciate if you like, subscribe, shared, and show some love, guys. Like I always tell you, the more love you show me, the more love I can show you back. So guys, handling those prospect objections is huge. Hope you test these out with some of your next prospects on some of your coaching calls, and I would love the feedback. Till next time.